Welcome back to Crypto Meets AI. Jerry here with an update for you. Do me a favor, friends. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and comment down below. Now let's get into this. The Bitcoin narrative is dying. It is a reality that better technologies will be adopted and Bitcoin will become irrelevant, falling into oblivion like Kodak, BlackBerry, or Blockbuster. Bitcoin's life cycle is coming to an end. Boom. And just like that, Canary just scooped up another 11.9 million XRP. They're now sitting on 120 million plus. Now this is getting crazy. This is big money positioning before the rest of the market wakes up. If they're moving like this now, imagine what happens when Franklin, Bitwise, and the whole lineup go live. And just wait for BlackRock to enter the room to play too. But there is Lehman Baird and Cardano founder Charles Hoskinson on how Web3 industry can reach mass adoption. Well, there's these gatekeepers to mass adoption, you know?
What kind of gets us to that adoption point that we have all been talking about, obviously, for years in this space? I know Lehman uses the term safety net a lot, but I would love just your take on some of the missing cogs in the wheel that are going to get us to that place.
Well, there's these gatekeepers to mass adoption and gatekeepers to the consumerization of technology. We live in a world where 5 companies control the lived experience of 3 billion people. So when you live in that world, you have to ask, well, how do they procure? How do they think? What's the rate at which they change things? And that gives you a good sense of where the market is going to evolve and how you work your way around it. So standards are remarkably important from that lens. Like a great example is the post-quantum crypto. A lot of people saw Microsoft announce that they have topo conductors. Huzzah, yay, we have quantum computers now. Well, I guess we all care about post-quantum signatures. So which one do you pick? Well, the correct answer is whatever NIST tells you to. Because even if you pick something outside of that, all the hardware manufacturers are going to build ASICs into the AMD chips and the NVIDIA chips and these things to accelerate the NIST standards. So they'll be 50 times faster than the software-enabled things. So you have to look at the standards bodies, you have to look at the procurement systems and the ebbs and flows of that. And the good news is we're now at a position where we as an industry have a lot of influence over this, and we can partner with these bodies. We work with Microsoft, we work with others. We're a member of the W3C, we worked on DIDs. So you just be there, work with the industry and work with partners outside of the industry, and over time you can get those set. Once they automatically roll their way into procurement. You see them supported in the browser, you see them supported in the Android devices, and the iOS devices, and they just become part of the day-to-day experience, and the consumer gets it for free.
Liquidity collapse could usher in a black swan type of an event. Japan's 20-year government bond yield just hit 2.75%, the highest level ever recorded, which I think that's untrue. I thought I seen a higher recorded level in 1999, I believe. At the same time, the government prepares a $110 billion fiscal stimulus injection. This creates a rare macro setup with major implications for global liquidity and risk assets like XRP. When long-term Japanese yields spike while the yen remains weak, it destabilizes the reverse yen carry trade. Institutions that borrowed in the cheap yen to buy global assets suddenly face higher funding costs that forces unwinding of leveraged FX positions. Repatriatism flows back into Japanese bonds, volatility in dollar funding markets, and rotation across global risk curves. But the key paradox is this: the $110 billion Japanese stimulus injects liquidity back into the system, even as yields rise. That means Japan is tightening on the long end and loosening on the fiscal side simultaneously. Historically, this combination leads to short-term volatility, medium-term liquidity expansion, rotation back into high beta, high utility digital assets once the dust settles. This is where XRP enters the equation. XRP is directly affected by FX volatility because it acts as a cross-border settlement and liquidity asset. When funding markets shift, when capital moves across currencies, and when traditional rails become stressed, the demand for efficient bridge asset increases. Now add the new XRP ETFs, institutional on-ramps, and real-time settlement infrastructure built by Ripple. For the first time, global macro flows can directly reach XRP through regulated channels. Japan's yield shock is not just a bond story. It is a signal that global liquidity is about to reshuffle, and some of that flow will inevitably seek assets with real settlement utility. XRP is at the center of that intersection. Next up, Ripple co-founder Larsen on the issues with modern payments and how much money is wasted in international payments. Trillions of dollars are being wasted.
Really holding back the world, right? So trillions of dollars, again, being wasted. I use the example of 4 cents to move a shirt all the way across the world. Pretty much costs nothing to make, send a message all the way across the world. I'll give you one example of an Airbnb host in Tanzania. He's charging $29 to a customer through that platform. By the time the money has gotten to that host, there's an actual actual example, $9. So $20 to move the value 4 cents to move the shirt, almost nothing to move data. So obviously this has to change. And of course, the implications of this lack of interoperability of money is, even all of you in this room, wealthy people, you can't send 50 euros without it all being chewed up in fees. Now, of course, there are some applications that try to, that sort of mask this, and they do a great job of it. But what they're doing, of course, without infrastructure for the whole world, is they're absorbing settlement risks. They're eating the cost. That's not scalable, right? So this has to change. And of course, the other problem with this, according to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, they say that the 2 billion people in the developing world, they need to be able to send 50 cents cross-border if they're really going to be participants in the global economy. You can't do that in a system built in the 70s, SWIFT, correspondent banking. There's not enough profit in it, so banks won't engage here. There's no profit in it. And of course, we can't even get started on all the excitement that a lot of people in this room have talked about, and I think is absolutely correct, machine-to-machine payments, right? So that robots, machines are full economic actors. They may need to be able, in applications as well, they may need to be able to send 1/100th of a euro, 1,000th of an RMB. You can't do that in this system today. So this has all got to change. And I think that is what represents the excitement of blockchain. I'm saying blockchain in quotes, that is this possibly the shipping container for money? Does this complete the picture of globalization, the third kind of key leg of the stool? I would say yes and no, right? So I think right now the conversation is too much around blockchains and digital assets.
He is absolutely right. You try sending a Western Union to someone, send them $100, you're paying like 10, 20 bucks just to send it. You want to send 1,000, you're paying 50 to 100 bucks to send it. You really think Elon Musk doesn't know about XRP? He's building X money to fix global payments. That means one thing, he'll need rails. And the only rails that are fast, scalable, and live today, XRP Ledger. And do not forget, he invested in OpenCoin with Peter Thiel back in 2017 when it was still OpenCoin and they hadn't changed the name to XRP yet. Ripple has built the infrastructure Elon needs, from real-time settlement to institutional-grade liquidity. One post from Musk saying powered by XRPL, and XRP goes vertical. Just look at how he's shaking markets with meme coins. Now imagine what happens when he touches real utility. Don't underestimate how fast things can move. All it takes is one tweet. Will you still be sleeping when XRP finally breaks the internet? By now, everyone must realize that banks are interested in DLT, and Ripple is one of those guiding names you hear from frequently. Ripple and Santander. This is the Digital Euro panel from yesterday, November 16th, 2025.
If you look at some of our big members, CaixaBank is investing $5 billion, and they're doing so to have very advanced customer services that are going to be AI-driven and cloud-based driven, right? You have Santander Bank that works with a company called Ripple that allows wealth management here in Germany. I don't know how many people are using it, but quite effective. And ING is also using blockchain technologies. So I think what we're seeing now is banks are at that pivotal point to decide, are we going to let this pass us by, or are we going to move quickly? And I think, considering who's sitting to my left, banks are moving very quickly, and that's a good thing. Now, what we'll get into later on, and not the regulations that the minister and excellent speech was outlining, we'll be looking at some of the very focused digital regulations, and what is the interplay with that now in this kind of new territory of creating digital services.
And last up, an update. Franklin Templeton's XRP ETF might not go live until November 24th. New info suggests the timeline for Franklin Templeton's XRP ETF may shift later than expected. Why? Because they updated their S1 on November 4th, which triggers the standard 20-day auto effectiveness clock under Section 8A. That would put the earliest likely launch at November 24th. This isn't a setback, it's procedural. Franklin is a 1.5 trillion giant, and they're simply lining up the formal timing. Well, that's what I have for you folks. Until next time, stay savvy, stay stacking, and I'll catch you in the next one. If you enjoyed this, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and comment down below. And if you want more crypto deep dives, check out our videos right here on Crypto Meets AI. Thank you for watching. Remember to always do your own research. This is not financial advice.